What's up, guys? Welcome back to 4K Motoring. I'm Chris, and today we're going to do a little bit of work on my 2015 Multistrada. Hey guys, Chris from 4K Motoring here, back with you today. Hope you had a good 4th of July. Today we're going to do a little bit of work on the Multistrada. I've got a little bit of an issue with the center stand that has kind of come apart on its own, and we're gonna do an oil change. Should be a quick video for you guys. Hope you enjoy. Happy 4th of July to everybody. I can hear the fireworks still going off outside. Evidently it's buy one get 5,000 free this year, so that's still going on in my neighborhood. So what we're gonna do today is, as I mentioned, that center stand issue I've been having. I'll go ahead and show you this right here. The bolt, the bushing and bolt combo that was, there's just one on each side. This one decided to work its way out. Don't know when it happened. I just know one day I went to put it up on the center stand, and as you can see from all that fresh metal up there, that aluminum being ground away, if I get the camera focused there, this was just wiggling in places it shouldn't have wiggled all up there and causing some pretty serious damage. Not really structurally, but at least aesthetically, marred it up pretty well. The other side is still intact just fine, so I don't know why this happened on this side, but we've got the replacements here. Expensive $40 bolt from Ducati. So we'll go ahead and throw the new one in. We'll place a bushing on it, and that should be that for the center stand. As soon as that's done, we can go ahead and get it up on the center stand to get the oil change done. And this should be a pretty quick video. So I'm gonna start here by just snipping off the zip ties here, the little cable ties that I had used to hold this on. So I'm gonna take those off. And you can see the whole thing obviously wiggles quite a bit, which was causing a little bit of that erosion up there. So what I have here, this is the piece needed. You can see it's kind of the bushing there, bolt with thread locker. We'll go ahead and get that ready and stick it on. So this bolt is going to be an 8mm hex head. So we'll go ahead and get that ready. Should be pretty easy to just slide in here to get it started. Move that whole thing forward. It is on a spring, so you got to get it lined up. Might take 2 hands. And once we have that ready, just spin that in and we will torque it down. Okay, now that that bolt is in, we'll go ahead and put the bike up on the center stand and we'll get to the oil change. If you don't know how to do the center stand on any bike really, the Multistrada is not unique to it. I'll kind of give you the quick rundown here. The key is, if you're not familiar, you're not trying to lift the bike backwards onto the center stand. You're trying to pull the bike up, straight up, while you're putting the center stand down. The Multistrada has a nice little handle here. The rear peg frame here has a nice place to grip onto, right opposite of the center stand. A lot of bikes will have a handle of sorts, so we'll get to it. And it's that simple. One thing I did not mention here is that the rubber grommet that used to go in that hole there would rest up against the frame when it was tucked up, when the center stand was tucked up, and that would make it just a little bit quieter every time you put it up. Now it kind of bangs around. So I ordered a couple new ones of those as well. We'll go ahead and swap one in here. Give you the part number. So there are 2 sides to this. There's this big side here and a little pointy side. The pointy side does not go against your frame. So you're going to come in from the back, pointy side going forward here. Get some light. This should just snug in from this direction. A little bit of wiggling back and forth. Okay, you can see that went in there. Took 2 hands to get that done, so I had to pause the video briefly, but was pretty easy. Just wiggled in little by little, had to fold in. Didn't require any extra tools, just by hand, easy fit. So now we'll go ahead and get the skid plate off here. So the oil filter's underneath, the drain plug's underneath the skid plate here. There are 2 bolts on the side that look like this. Well, I take that back. There's 2 on the skid plate, 1 on each side that looks like that. 1 on each side that looks like that. And 1 here in the center on the bottom. Okay, just for reference, these smaller bolts here are going to take a 4mm hex key, and the bigger ones back here is going to take a 6mm. We will go ahead and take these off here. Okay, there's 1. And there's 2. I'll go ahead and get the other side done and we'll drop this pan. Okay, the skid plate will then drop down. Again, 4 bolts on the sides and 1 on the bottom. Skid plate's out of the way. And now I'll bring you guys in here. We'll go around to the right side of the bike and we'll see our filter hanging out there. So go ahead and get that off, replace that. The drain plug, you can see, is right over there. We'll put a new crush washer on that. In case you don't know what oil to get, it is specified right here on the sticker, the oil, SAE 15W50 is what this requires. This does have in the owner's manual a range, a temperature range for the oil to use. 10W40, the stuff you can find just about everywhere, does work in this in certain climates. But with the oil controlled variable valve timing of this bike, I do keep it with the 15W50. Seems to work all weather. I've never had an issue, so that's the way we stay. So this is going to be a 5mm hex key, because why would Ducati make it the same? So now we have a 4, 5, and 6 we're using. The drain plug is kind of right over the center stand. So when it's on the center stand, you can't put a drain pan directly underneath it unless it's got a weird overhang. So I have this system here, seems to work pretty well. So we'll go ahead and crank this open. So we can pretty well get it by hand. Obviously be careful if the oil is hot. We will go ahead and let that drain. You got this drain plug separated. It is magnetic. You can see we don't really have anything stuck to it. So that's a good sign. No sparkles. So oil's a little bit dirty, but clean. Go ahead and keep that flowing out. Okay, while that's draining, we'll go ahead and crack the plug here, the fill plug. Let some air circulate through. Drain all that out. And we'll just give that a minute or 2. Since it's not a hot engine, it might take a little bit longer to drain out. So next we're going to go ahead and take the old crush washer off. You guys are probably familiar with these from most oil change jobs. Just a little copper crush washer. Goes on the end, just slips right off. You can see this one's obviously been used. You can see the ring on it there from where it's been crushed in. So that did its job. We'll go ahead and look for our new set here. I want to remember what drawer they're in. Find the one that matches here. Looks like one of these will probably do it. Let's see. Same size, same thickness. We'll go ahead and go with that. So once we have our new one, it slips on just like the old one here. Make sure we clean that bolt first, but there's your drain plug. Before we continue here, we'll go ahead and throw in the new drain plug. as you can see, the oil's basically stopped flowing. Once we got it tight, just give it a little twist, just enough to get that press washer going, and then we're done. As I learned a long time ago, no need to play with a used filter. So we'll go ahead and get a grip of this one here. Can. And spin it off. Obviously, if you're doing this with a hot bike, be careful about this exhaust pipe. It'll smoke with oil and it'll burn you real quick. There we go. We'll let that drain for a couple minutes, just like we did with the oil pan. Again, make sure your catch can is underneath the whole thing. It will drain down. Looks clean under there, so that's good. We'll go ahead and give it a wipe down and we'll get that new one installed. Okay, once we've cleaned the area pretty well and it stopped draining like it is now, give that a wipe down. Make sure our sealing area here is nice and clear all the way around. We'll go ahead and get our new filter. Right there. You can see here's part number from Ducati. That shows up on the light. We'll go ahead and pre-fill this filter, as you do with oil changes, to prevent dry starts. Not as big of an issue with more modern equipment, but still good habit to be in. Okay, we do that. We're going to take a little oil on our finger, rub it around this seal, that way we can get a good torque down. And we can go ahead and get this started by hand here. Again, after we spill oil all over ourselves. So go ahead with Old Faithful. These don't have to be torqued super tight, but you do definitely want to make sure they don't leak. So it should be snug. It's going to smoke a little bit on the first startup. First time you ride it after this, that's normal. If you've not done an oil change on a vehicle before, as that extra oil just burns off, it's not a big deal. Okay, obviously we have our fill plug here. So we're gonna use a funnel. If you're good enough, you don't have to, but I don't like spilling oil all over my bike. So we're gonna use the funnel there. Make sure it's clean before you use it. And we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, this is going to take 3.6 quarts. Okay, with that, we're at about 3.4 quarts, including what we put in the filter. So we're probably a little bit under where we need to be for optimal oil fill, but we'll go ahead and take a look at the sight glass here. So as you can see, the oil is just about at the top right now. Obviously, when you turn it on, you fill up that oil filter with all the extra oil, you get it circulating, that'll drop a bit. So we'll go ahead and reinstall our fill plug here. Okay, make sure it's clean, make sure the area is clean. Twist that down, hand tight. Don't need tools for that. Alright, we'll go ahead and get it turned over and we'll watch that sight glass as it disappears. As you can see, some of that oil is burning off there. You can see by the smoke. So we'll give it a minute for all to start draining back down, and we'll see where we are when we come back. Okay, so you see we're pretty well in range after all that. Just about right at the middle. Gonna add just ever so slightly more. Alright, and with that, I think we'll call that good. Okay, there we have it. We're going to go ahead and get the skid plate back on, and we are good to go. And with that, we're done. The skid plate is on, everything is plumbed back up the way it's supposed to be. Our center stand is attached appropriately. This bike is ready for action. Next maintenance item we have to do, or next maintenance interval we have to do, is going to be the 36,000 mile Desmo service, probably suspension rebuild, that whole thing. So until then, we are good to go, ready to ride another couple thousand miles, and we'll see you next time.